Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the infotainment breakdown on the 2024 Chevy Trax and its 11-inch infotainment display. In this video, we're going to take a look at how this 8-inch digital gauge cluster works, the larger screen works in the center there. We're going to take a look at Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, talk about how to pair a phone, and maybe test out some voice controls. Before we get started with all that, let's hop out and take a look at it. Entirely new for 2024. This is not the Chevy Trax that you know from before. This one drives better, it looks better, it comes with a good amount of tech, and Chevy managed to keep the price down pretty low as well. This one you're looking at about $27,000. So if you do want to see more on it, check the link in the description. I've got a full review, sound system demo, fuel economy test, all of that will be linked below. And you know what, I'm walking around this car and I'm even seeing we've got Continental tires on here for a $27,000 car. That's expected something cheaper. Starting right off in front of us on this 2RS trim, we're greeted with a digital gauge cluster. Now I will say, I am a bit surprised that they decided to do this because it is cool, but it doesn't really tell you much more that than the standard analog gauges would tell you. But let's go through your functionality here, even though there isn't a whole lot. Starting in the top left, you've got a compass. And then coming down to the bottom left, you've got fuel, well, both distance empty right there, and then kind of your fuel tank status. Bottom right, you've got coolant temperature, and then top right is actually kind of cool. It's a following distance indicator. So as you're cooking along on the highway, you're coming up behind a car in front of you, it'll tell you how many seconds behind them you are. It's a good reminder to keep some following distance there. Then right in the center, you've got your digital speed and an kind of analog style tachometer, but you can adjust how that looks by holding down this button on the right. And then you're greeted with 3 different gauge options. So we're on gauge 1, let's go down to gauge 2. That's what that one looks like. You've got kind of a speed readout around you, so the tachometer's gone, but still got digital speed in the middle and then analog speed around the side. Going down to gauge 3, you're given an even cooler looking sort of circle for your analog speed readout. So both of those are kind of fun, but you do lose your tachometer, which probably isn't the end of the world. If you hold this button down again, you're greeted with a vehicle info option. That's going to show you your trip 1 and trip 2 information and leave that up. Still give you digital speed up above that. And then scroll down even further, you can get infotainment information, show you what track is playing right there. Going down further, you can have a clean option. So that's literally just giving you your speed and then fuel and temp. I'm a bit surprised it still gives you a fuel gauge and a temperature gauge in the clean option, but it does look nice, I will say. Outside of those different options, you can also use this directional kind of control over here to press on the left and get some audio source options. You can switch quickly between your different audio sources, and then if you press on the right, you get your phone. And for some reason, my phone's not connected right now, but let me see if I can bring it up here. We'll get it connected, and then I'll show you how that looks. There you are. Now you see if I press on the right, I get this recent calls screen. I can scroll through and see my recent calls. Moving on to the center display. Like I said, this is the 11-inch option. You'd get an 8-inch that operates pretty similarly if you opt for a lower trim Trax. But you've got this home screen that we're starting out here, and it's got some applications essentially through the center. We'll go through all those, but outside of that center area, you've got this persistent left menu that's giving you quick shortcuts to your home, kind of a vehicle info screen, your phone, and your media. And then this top information screen is giving you a notifications icon right there, which if you press, eventually it shows you that I've got no notifications. And then coming over, you see your phone status. It's showing me the signal of my Bluetooth connected phone, as well as the battery level and which device is connected. If I click that, it brings up the different phones that are there, and we'll be using that later to pair up a phone as well. Moving over, you see, what is this? This is probably our Wi-Fi hotspot. I guess clicking it doesn't exactly do anything. But then next to that, you've got your outside temperature, and next to that, your clock. Can you readjust these icons? Let's see. Yes, you can. So you can actually move those around. If I wanted, say, settings up here instead of that, actually, I can just add on to it. Look at that. Now we got a 5th icon over there, and it actually takes it away from the center. So that's interesting. So depending on how you receive your Trax, it might look a little different from ours. But let's start up in the top here and view our phone. So you've got your recent calls, your contacts that you can scroll through, a keypad to dial in numbers, and then this will show you which phones are actually connected here. Moving over down on the left, we've got our media screen. These are your different media inputs. If you do want to see a more in-depth review on the sound system and how that all works, check the link below for our sound review. But you've got your different inputs: AM, FM, Sirius XM, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Bluetooth, USB, and the option to add a device there. It looks like you should be able to scroll to the side, but you actually cannot. If we go to, let's go over to Sirius XM, see how that looks. You can scroll through your channels. You got your favorites down here on the bottom, and say if I wanted to set the pulse for a favorite, I could click down there, then it's going to set the pulse for that favorite right there. Moving on down this row, we've actually got a vehicle kind of screen, if you will. And that's giving you 3 sub-menus: trip, maintenance, and gauges. Start over here on the right, I suppose, with trip. This is how you're going to view your trip 1 and trip 2, the same ones that we saw in the center gauge screen. Click on that, and that shows you how to reset them as well. You actually don't reset them with any buttons or controls here in the center. You do it through this touch screen. Let's reset my trip 2 right now. Okay. Moving over, oh no wait, we got fuel economy right here. If you click on that, that's going to show you your average fuel economy since it's been reset, and then your best over the last 50 miles. You can actually change the distance. Let's see, over the last 400, what have we been getting? 24.1. Okay, so hard life for this little Trax. Moving over, we've got gauges. This is going to show you your battery voltage as well as coolant temperature. You can option to have those shown in the cluster as well. And then over on the left, maintenance, that's going to show you your tire pressure as well as your oil life. If you click on tire pressure, you can relearn it if you wanted to run at a different sort of tire pressure. And then oil life right there, you could reset it if you changed the oil. We're going to skip over settings for a moment, go back to the home screen and go to climate. This, fortunately, in this Trax, you do still have a physical climate control, but if you wanted to do it through the touch screen, you could do it there as well. Options to change where the air is flowing, how quickly it's flowing, what temperature it's set at, etc. Only single zone climate control here in the Trax. Going back home, you have a Wi-Fi hotspot option. So even at this price point, you're still getting the ability to share a Wi-Fi hotspot if you pay for it monthly with other devices in your car, and you can set the name and password for that through there. And then interestingly, this is how you turn your traction control and ESC on and off through the touch screen. So they're really condensing a lot of the controls into the screen here. Let's dive into settings. We've got 3 submenus: system, vehicle, and apps. I'm not going to go through every little setting, but I'll show you the important ones. Under date and time, you have the ability to switch over to a 24-hour time clock format. And if you wanted to set your own time, you could do that by turning off automatic date and time and messing with it right there. But for me, it's always easiest to just set automatic. Going back, we've got different languages: English, French, and Spanish that you can set the screen to operate in. Below that, phones. We're going to go back to that when we pair up a device. Wi-Fi networks. This is going to be how you'd connect the Trax to your home Wi-Fi network in order to maybe get software updates. Below that, Wi-Fi hotspot. We saw those settings earlier from the home screen. Under display, it's going to give you one singular option: the ability to turn off the display. Say if you're driving late at night, you didn't want the screen shining at you, you could turn that off there. To change the display brightness, you actually have to move over here to this physical control while you're driving at night, and you can scroll that. And I honestly don't mind. I kind of prefer having a physical control there. Under sounds, you're going to be able to turn off this touchscreen beep, or it's not really a beep, it's more of a click. And then a maximum volume at startup. I like this feature in GM vehicles, so if you're jamming out to music late at night and then you come home and shut the car off and then you get back in the next morning, you don't want it to blast you with that same loud volume you were listening at the night before. So I like that feature right there. If you needed to change to metric units, you do that here with the units screen. Scrolling down some more, you can try to get to system updates. If you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, you're going to do that there. And then if you want to reset everything to their factory defaults, you got that reset option down there. Moving over to vehicle, team driver, you could set this up. This might be pretty applicable for the Trax if you want to make it so the team driver can't go super fast or can't listen to radio at certain volumes, maybe has to drive with their seatbelt on at all times. You can set that up in there, and you actually set it up with a pin. Rear seat reminder. So right now, if I shut the vehicle off, it's going to beep at me and let me know I might have left something in the rear seats, but you can turn that off with that option right there. Climate and air quality for your auto fan speed. If you want that to be low, medium, or high, you can change that. And some settings for auto defogging. Collision and detection systems. This car has automatic emergency braking and pedestrian braking built in, so you can turn that on and off if you wanted to. And for your lane change alert and rear cross traffic alerts, if those were bothering you, you could disable those there in the screen as well. Under lighting, you have the ability to change how long the lights stay on after you leave the vehicle. Comfort and convenience, the chime volume. This is actually kind of cool how you can adjust how loud the chimes are for your seatbelt reminder or your key being left in the vehicle. It always cracks me up how they give you this whole screen, little bar, but you can only kind of choose in the middle there. It's kind of funny. And then when you put the car in reverse, if you want it to auto wipe on the rear screen, you can do that there. Power door lock. So as you walk up and unlock the door, if you want it to unlock all the doors or just the driver door, you can do that right there. Remote lock, unlock, and start. If you want the car to honk when you lock it, you could adjust those settings. Passive door unlock, so when you come up and you touch the button on the handle outside there, if you want all the doors to unlock or just one of them. Passive door lock, if you want the car to automatically lock as you walk away, you can turn that on there. And if you leave your key in the car, you can have it remind you of that right there. Last, the app screen. It's not giving you too much here, but audio settings. This is how you can change some of your sound settings. You can see more of that in the audio review. Phone settings, a few different options right there that you can adjust. And then some of your OnStar settings, not really anything useful right there. Okay, let's take a look at how Android Auto looks. Bringing it up, like I said, this is wirelessly connected, and it's still giving you your time and your outside temperature, which is very important, something we didn't see in all older Chevy vehicles. Got your split screen set up. Let's take a look at how Google Maps looks full screen. Of course, you can move it around. We're getting good responsiveness, good refresh rate as well, pinch and zoom. Take a look at YouTube Music. Been listening to some Two Bears, but what are we going to get on our Super Mix? Super Mix today giving us some Sophie Tucker. Okay, all right, I can feel that. So that's how your Android Auto is going to look. Pretty responsive. Let's take a look at the app screen. Okay, pretty good resolution too. But let's show you how to pair up a phone, and we'll take a look at Apple CarPlay. Got our trusty iPhone SE rocking now. Let's go over to Settings and to Bluetooth on the phone. Now that we've got that up, I'm going to click right here to bring up our phone screen, and then this switch phone option, add a device. And now we're in a Bluetooth pairing mode, and I see on my iPhone I've got my Chevrolet. I'm going to click that, and I get a pairing code. I'm going to press pair on the phone and pair on the screen on the car. Allow on the iPhone, pretty much allow anything that pops up here on the iPhone. And now we are connected, and I get a prompt on the phone to use Apple CarPlay. I'm going to press that. Enable it on the screen of the car, and there we go. It's coming up. That's how your CarPlay is going to look. Pretty good resolution here. Definitely bright. I've always been disappointed with how bright Apple CarPlay is on cars for some reason. But let's take a look at your Google Maps. Now you're going to be able to drag around like that on this screen, but no pinch and zoom with the iPhone, unfortunately. Still looking good though, taking up a good amount of the screen. What do we got? A Super Mix for YouTube Music. Nice and responsive. Ooh, iPhone's feeling young gravy. Okay, all right, so feeling young with the Chevy Trax. I get that. And that's how all of your apps are going to look. Again, pretty decent refresh rate on here. Okay, let's take it back home. I don't think we're going to have really any advanced voice settings here in the Trax, but let's see what we got. Oh, okay, so just pressing this button once is going to bring up your phone's voice control, so that's bringing up Siri. Do we even have? Oh, we don't have any voice commands. Wait a minute. Let's disable CarPlay, and then let's see if we've got some built-in voice commands here on the Trax. No? Okay, so no built-in voice commands. That's interesting. They're just expecting you're going to pair up a device. So, okay, I guess that's it here for the infotainment system Engage cluster on the Chevy Trax. For this price point, I'm really happy with it. It's a nice big screen. It's giving you your wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. I think Chevy really took a nice jump forward here, and I've been happy with a lot of their infotainment systems, including this one. The 8-inch screen is going to work pretty similar, just a little bit smaller. So thank you all so much for watching. If you got any extra questions I didn't answer, ask me below. I'll try to get back to you here in the comments. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.